G'day, my name's Ben Hughes. Welcome to Spitbucket. We're here in Hyde Park, right bang in the middle of Sydney. We're at New South Wales Wine, Sydney Cellar Door. We've got over 400 wines to taste today. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday. Festival's been going for 2 days and we're going to have some fun. Come and join us. Okay, so we're here with David Lowe from Lowe Wines. Lowe is one of the best producers out of Mudgee. David also happens to be president of the New South Wales Wine Institute. The industry body, isn't it?
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
We're the body that represents the growers and winemakers in this state.
Right, okay. So tell us a little bit about Mudgee to start with. Whereabout is Mudgee? How far is it from Sydney?
Yeah, Mudgee's an old wine growing area. It's had history since 1850. It's been growing grapes. We're about 3.5 hours, depends how bad the traffic is, but
sure.
if you've got to go west, and west, when you get to Lithgow, you go slightly northwest. It's a good 3.5 hour drive. So
okay.
People come up there, they want to probably stay the weekend to see the whole character of the region.
So now you've been experimenting and working with organic and biodynamic. Can you just explain to everybody what the difference is and what processes you go through for that?
That's pretty well much the number one question I get about that. It's a good question. The organic process is really a certifying body that tells you what you can't do. So it stops you from doing things that they think are damaging to the wine and to the environment. So to become an organic, you have to go through a principle where your vines and your vineyard and your soil and your winemaking is audited. It stops you from using, for example, things like weedicides. If you use any fertiliser, they have to be organic themselves, so they have to be made and natural. You can't use any genetically modified products, for example, in any process of the grape growing or winemaking. You can use some sprays, but they're sprays themselves that are natural occurring. Nothing synthetic is used. And what it's supposed to mean is that because of this mantra that you use, you end up with a healthier and better quality product.
Yep.
It's confusing because organic certification doesn't mean, it doesn't tell you that the product is better, but it should be.
Yep.
The biodynamic process is more complicated. It's really driven by the Rudolf Steiner in Austria in the 1920s, where he found that the monoculture in practice in agriculture in those days brought a lot of agriculture to its knees. There was not enough diversity. And he worked out there was two things. One was the chemistry of regeneration of a plant and its environment, which is pretty simple to work out. The second thing's more complicated and it gets a bit of a bad reputation, and that's the lunar aspects of it. So here we're going to go back to practice agriculture 2,000 years ago. Now, if you think it's all mumbo jumbo and holistic and witchcraft, if you go and if you want to go fishing and you talk to some of these big buffy fishermen, they will tell you that the lunar calendar has more to do with fishing than anything else. So some of these people look at the aspects of the lunar program for fishing. So it makes perfect sense. That's how we practiced agriculture before the last 100 years. So it's not necessarily a step back in time, it's using what we've learned over the last 2,000 or 3,000 years.
The way real basic way I've kind of understood it is, you know, the moon's in the sky, it controls all the tides, the water will move around, so therefore water in the vines will be pulled up at certain times, giving more flavour and more minerals into the vines, giving it a certain time to sort of pick.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's a great way of describing it, because when there's gravity coming from the moon rotating around the earth, it will move a body of water from one continent to another. You can imagine the effect it have on a plant. So if it's more dilute by being sucked up, the flavour is more dilute. Therefore, if the gravity of the earth is strong, the water falls further to the ground, therefore the fruit is sweeter. That's a basic principle. It's more complicated than that, but it's a very good start of explaining what we're up against.
And let's talk about cow poo. Cow poo and horns.
Okay, so part of the culture of biodynamics is they have a number, 500 up to 508. They're basically recipes. So 500 is a cow horn. So what you do is you use the cow horn. 501 I think is deer horn. So use that as the vessel with dung planted in the soil, and it goes through its own life cosmic forces, and that is used judiciously on your plants in your soil to regenerate it. What it really means, it actually puts that the manure into a degradable form, which then does a great job in the earth and the soil. And this is the sort of stuff that we really need to pack with a lot of science. But what scares people is there's no science attached to it. But holy moly, there's been 2,000 years of precedence, and that's where a lack of information is driving people to think it's like witchcraft. But there's so many people who do this. I reckon of the top 20 wines in the world, at least 8 would be registered as biodynamic producers. That's enough reason for me even to investigate it.
David, look, thank you very much for your time.
Great pleasure.
What we'll do now, pick out your gun wine for us, and we'll give it a try and see how we go.
Well, my stellar wine is my 2009 Zinfandel. It's actually not released till July. I'm rated in the top 10 in the world. I won the World Zinfandel Championships in 2005, runner-up in 2006. This is the great example of what we do, what we've done. We've taken some knowledge from America and supplanted it in my little region in Mudgee. We're practicing this is where I need some biodynamic intervention because the soil isn't good enough yet, but we're making a really, really interesting wine, something that no one else does.
Sure.
That's what it's about, making not the same stuff. We want everything to be different.
All right, so let's have a look. First thing you do, you have a look at the wine, and just by looking at the wine, you can pretty much tell what's going to happen in your mouth. That's going to be a serious wine. That's going to be a lot going on in your mouth. We spin it around, we have a smell. You can see you've got some legs there. That kind of denotes high alcoholic wines.
You bet.
So that's really what it is. Some people think it's a sign of quality. Of course, this is a quality wine. So in this one, it's slightly different. It shows quality.
It's about balance, isn't it? Like some alcohol is appropriate, some can be too hot. Alcohol is a solvent that holds all the flavours and fruits into wine. You've got to have some alcohol to hold the character in there.
Okay, spin it around, let's have a go. Big juicy steak.
Yeah.
That's what you need with that. That's a lovely wine. Really well balanced. Some of these high alcoholic wines can be a little bit unbalanced. Totally imbalanced. Lovely, savoury kind of maraschino cherry, kind of little bit going on there. And then 10 seconds later, that kind of acid kind of really kicks in. That needs a bit of rum, I reckon.
So the Californians reckon it's great with game, certainly with rump and just slightly undercooked. We discovered it last year. It's the only one I know that will go toe-to-toe with Massaman curry.
Oh, nice work.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
An
I like the Massaman. Oh, yeah. So where can we find your wines?
Look, my wines aren't around many shops. There are a few independent bottle shops. Certainly we do a lot of business in mail order and with the winery. People come up. You can either ring up or email us and we'll send off a price list. But generally they're the independent bottle shops, a couple of really good restaurants. I just don't get around. I'm just very happy. I only make small amounts, so it's a pretty rare commodity.
Very good. All right, David,
Great
thank you
pleasure,
very
mate.
much. Thanks a lot.
Well, thanks.
We've got some beautiful music going on, and we're here with Damian Shaw from Shaw Wines. Damian, tell me about The Idiot.
Mate, The Idiot's a bunch of wines from our single vineyard up in Orange. It sits at 900 metres. We've got the Character Series, which are basically they're all characters from my old man who makes the wines.
So who is The Idiot based on then?
It's based on Dad.
Oh, right.
They're all his characters, so you know the wine industry takes itself pretty seriously, and this is just taking the piss a bit and serious wine. Like it's just picked up best red wine at the Royal Sydney Show. So you know, really proud of it. These wines sort of, I guess, retail around $20, and they're really good sort of bistro cafe style wines.
Yeah, I mean, to pick up best red wine is a great accolade. I mean, you must be thrilled when that came through.
Yeah, we are, I guess, and you know, like a lot of things, it's not one big thing, it's a lot of little things, and this is just another little thing. And you know, at the moment, it's we're in a bit of a sweet spot, I guess, and you know, you just keep building things and plugging away in the winery and the vineyard, and you know, we're really happy with the way the vineyard's looking, and the wines in the winery at the moment are really looking really sweet through, you know, through the Chardonnays or through Pinot, and obviously the Shiraz looking good at the moment. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so everything's going to be all right then.
Well, I think, you know,
it was a play on the music. Sorry.
Yeah. You know, as we all know, the industry's, there's some hard times out there, but
sure,
there's a lot of good stories in there, and you know, it takes a lot of hard work, and I think, you know, it's certainly paying off for us at the moment.
Yeah. So let's have a taste of the wine. And so this, you categorise this as a typical cool climate Shiraz?
Very much so, cool climate Shiraz. You know, you're getting that white pepper, you know, that lovely spice, and the thing, you know, really on the nose, you got pure varietal character coming through, and I think that's probably one of the things that stood it out, you know, in the show is the pure varietal, and that sort of the softness that comes through in the on the palate.
Yeah.
But there's some great intensity in the mid palate of that wine as well. But you know, certainly that white pepper is the big thing that comes through.
It really stands out. So when you're tasting wines, white pepper, it denotes pretty much always a cool climate. So it doesn't.
Whereas
really...
I guess in the warmer parts you're seeing more black pepper.
Yeah, but that white pepper really stands out. So if anybody clever tries to ask you, can you pick this wine? And you pick up white pepper, you can tell them, well, it's a cool climate Shiraz straight off. So some people will try and do that to you. So let's have a taste, let's swill it around. Spice, white pepper, gorgeous. That's lovely.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
Nice mouthfeel there. Really, like, big thing about our vineyard sitting 900 metres, we've got the intensity of sunlight because we're high up, but we've also got the coolness of where we are in Orange. You know, you've got on our vineyard 85 days a year below zero. So really, Orange is defined by probably the highest growing region in Australia, but also the coolest.
Right, okay, and is that something to do with the diurnal range, you know, hot days, cold nights, does that make a difference to you?
Well, cooler days, you know, and cool nights,
okay.
You know, is the sort of thing. And, you know, but you get that intensity of sunlight, which gives you the growing ability to get the ripeness there as well. So, you know, everything's about balance, you know, whether it be a plate of food or a wine, and what we're after
Sure.
is fruit, and we're after acidity to give us a nice balance in the wine.
Great. That's fantastic. And what's your future for Shaw Wines? What are you looking to do in the future? How do you see it going?
Oh, look,
New varietals?
No, I think what we've done to start with, and you know what Dad's been good at for over 40 years, is making, you know, we're not trying to be the next big thing as in the new varietal or anything. We're trying to make classic varietals very well, and we put a lot of effort into doing that, whether it be in the winery, whether it be shoot thinning, you know, whether it be leaf plucking, or, you know, a lot of attention to detail in the vineyard. We handpick, we put all the fruit across sorting tables. So, and as I said earlier, it's about the little things. You know, you can't just do one big thing and it's all there. It's a lot of little things. And
we talked about earlier on. We talked about great wines being made in the vineyard, and that's really where it starts. So all the work you put into there, then sorting the grapes, all that really goes to, you know, you can't make a great wine out of bad grapes. So yeah.
That's right, yeah. And then, you know, then it's again the attention to detail in the vineyard. You know, it makes a huge difference having our own vineyard. We can do what we want with the grapes, and we take that into our winery, and we make it in our winery, and it's those little things that make the difference.
And let's very quickly talk about today. You know, we're bang in the middle of Sydney. We're in Hyde Park. How's today been? Last 2 days been for you? So the festival goes for 2 days. The whole thing actually goes for a month. But obviously, it's a great crowd here today. We've got some music going. There seems to be a real buzz and a real vibe here today.
Yeah, yesterday was a great day, and today's certainly shaping up as a great day. There's a great mix of people, as you've got a great mix of, you know, the great diversity in New South Wales from, you know, all across the state. You've got the cooler climate, you've got the warmer regions, and as you guys are going around, I bet you see some knocking great wines that you know, obviously a lot of New South Wales knows about, but I think there's a lot more people today that have sort of gone, wow, you know, there's a lot of great booze in our backyard.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Appreciate your time, guys. Thanks, Spitbucket.